This show is not suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
What I said to her, I was just gonna say, okay. I said, Jesus Christ. Okay.
She's checked out.
100%. I think she never checked in the beginning. She's on what's airplane mode. She's really on airplane mode.
Oh my goodness. I am Nina the Diva, and this is Face Not Found. And if eventually you hear a voice in the background, that is Lady P. She does not want you to know that her real name is Paula, but it's Lady P. So this episode will be just a tad bit different. Oh no, we don't like changes. No, listen. If I have to go down the rabbit hole, you have to go down the rabbit hole. Because I was researching a specific person, a specific case, led me to write about I think it's actually the biggest case in my file, like the not of importance, but like in terms of pages. And then I noticed a pattern when I started watching documentaries on this person, and I was disturbed at the scenery where this true crime takes place, right? So yes, this podcast will be on a certain place. And I want to know, do you believe in cursed land? Because I believe in cursed land, but most people will say, hey, everywhere you put a foot, there's been blood spilled there, so the whole world is haunted. Okay, fine, you could say that, but I believe if it's something so violent that happened centuries ago, you can still feel the malice in the air, right? And so I'm gonna take you back to a land full of imagination. Isn't that a song? I'm gonna take you back to a land that was vast, right? A rural agriculture region consisting of 25 distinct farming and ranching communities. Among one of the communities, its oldest was Sugarloaf, which was established in 1852. And it had its own schools, churches, stores, cemeteries. It had it all. It was just like any other town. The land was highly productive in cotton and grain, and the hilly portions was used as cattle and sheep ranches. It was a beautiful land with a rich history already, because before European settlers arrived in the 1800s, aka colonizers, the land was actually a major hunting ground to at least 900 indigenous settlements dating back centuries, right? So it's a beautiful land now, and it's prosperous, and over 300 families live there. And in 1942, the U.S. government said, yeah, we need this space and you need to go. That's right. That's exactly how it went. See, the U.S. needed open space to train personnel and test military tank destroyers in order to fight Nazi Germany in World War II. So the War Department chose this specific Texas location because the terrain was wide open. Are you telling me that you couldn't go to some place like Utah or Ohio or one of those open vast lands. Do your stuff over there. Why this one? And to me, it was like, well, it is by the border, so they might want to keep an eye on that too. But whatever. So they said, we taken over this 108,000 acres of land, which we will eventually expand, and we can do it using the eminent domain under the War Powers Act. So basically, like, if you value your country and you want us to have a victorious win in war, you'll give up your land. What do you mean feed your children? It's more important for us to fight, you know? So suddenly, multi-generational families were given a few weeks and some even less than 30 days to pick up their entire life. And I'm not talking about their clothes, their food. I'm talking about livestock, harvests, their children. Many families were displaced and they had to relocate somewhere else. And some were literally given pennies on the dollar, okay, for a land that their ancestors worked. And I mean, you did steal the land, but those who didn't get any money from the government was like, yeah, we're not going to give you any money because your land is condemned. Huh? What do you mean my land is condemned? We're fine. Well, why are you taking... But yes, that's how they did it. And I love that they have the nerve, well, history has the nerve to say that the land was not taken informally. It was acquired through a formal government land acquisition process. Bullshit. So, in short, families were displaced. The land passed into federal control. And just like that, Clear Creek, Elijah, Antelope, and the Sugarloaf communities were wiped off the map. All in the name of war and in rude fashion. Homes, schools, everything. They put a bunch of bulldozers, and they just fucking bulldozed everything. A monster truck style, right? There were 240 familial plots, aka graves, that had to be moved to municipal cemeteries, and the rest are still there under the ground in a nice place that begun with the name Camp Hood. Construction of Camp Hood began in early 1942. It officially opened as a temporary base on September 18th, 1942. Camp Hood was named in honor of John Bell Hood. He was a Confederate Army general. He's been described as the single the single largest mistake that either government made during the war. Oh, okay, but why? Okay, so Hood was insubordinate. I mean, with a name like Hood, like, it didn't give you a hint. Well, no, that Hood being Hood is way past their time, but he was insubordinate. There was strong evidence of him having an opium addiction and being high all the time. Great, here comes fucking Paula. Like, if she don't got a key and can let herself in, she gotta ring the doorbell, knowing damn well that I'm recording. Why you can't just use your key? Keys are for bozos. I was recording. Lord.
Continue. You don't have to cut that out.
I'm not cutting it out.
Hello, how you guys doing?
I'm gonna tell them how irresponsible you are.
I'm thinking about taking a staycation, guys. Where do you think I should go? No, I'm serious. This weekend.
You just said a staycation. A staycation is when you stay home.
No, state.
Statecation.
Yes, statecation.
I think you should go to Salem, Massachusetts,
I'm
or
not going nowhere, no Salem. Nowhere, no Salem. Nowhere.
What about Cape Cod? Okay, you just threw me off.
Okay.
Okay, why don't you go to Alabama?
Hey, that's one place. Even if I had family over there, I'm not going. I'm not going. Hell to the no.
So he was insubordinate. There was strong evidence that points to him having an opium addiction and being high all the time. And then he led the Confederate into disaster at Gettysburg. He single-handedly lost the Atlantic, and he lost the entire army of Tennessee. So why was this place named after this bozo anyway? Question. Do you believe in cursed land?
Do I believe in cursed land? No.
Okay. And his beliefs were disgusting, right? In a letter he wrote to Sherman in September 12, 1864, he described his conviction that Negroes were an inferior race. In that same letter he wrote, he said, quote, "We will fight you till the death. Better die 1,000 deaths than submit to live under you or your government and your Negro allies." A year later, his bitch ass surrendered, right? Now, I don't know about you, friend, but being named after Lucifer's cousin Hood, being built on indigenous ground and cemeteries.
Wait, the devil had a cousin?
Yeah, his name is Hood.
For real? This is in the Bible?
No.
Because I thought I'm learning new information. All this time I didn't know he had. Now I'm thinking about he got uncle. Oh, he got a mommy and daddy. God damn.
Well, God is.
Well, why would I say that?
God is his dad. Listen, being built, right, on indigenous ground and cemeteries built on top of European families who put their work into that land, and I'm talking about their sweat, blood, and tears, is not somewhere I would willingly visit. So in 1943, the Army expands to include a replacement and basic training center at North Hood. At times, as many as 100,000 soldiers were being trained for war efforts. And during the later part of the war, some 4,000 German prisoners of war were interned at Camp Hood. And, y'all think they were giving them mani-pedis? No. But they weren't treated inhumanely because they were still white, So they used them, to fix roads within the camp and shit. And, or to clean the barracks and all of that good stuff. So 1945 to 1949, post-war, the population of the camp declines to around 1,700. And then in 1950, Camp Hood officially becomes Fort Hood after the Army approves it as a permanent installation. So it's like all of y'all that we told y'all had to leave, y'all never coming back because we're going to keep this permanently. So, and then the Korean War increased Fort Hood's importance. And let's also make note, true to its name, Guillén was a hotbed for Klan activity. Guillén is where Fort Hood is located, right? When trains stopped in Guillén, black passengers knew to pull down their shades to avoid getting pelted with rocks by the locals. And no black residents were there until the early 1950s. In 1954, 3rd Corps arrived at Fort Hood, helping cement the post as one of the Army's most important armored installations. So again, we ain't going nowhere. Today, Guillén is home to 6 strip clubs, 18 pawn shops, $35 stores, and 38 tattoo parlors, and a partridge in a pear tree.
That's where they put, that's why they made Pussy Valley, that TV show over there.
I heard about that. That's Pussy Valley. 1960s to 1970s is, the flower child peace and love hippie era. There were 3 gentlemen, which are now dubbed the Fort Hood Three different men with 3 different ethnic backgrounds. James Johnson was an African-American man. David Samaz was a white man, and Dennis Mora, a Puerto Rican man. In a joint letter, they declared the Vietnam War was unjust immoral, and illegal. The three were arrested. Johnson and Mora were arrested at a peace rally, and Samaz was arrested in the Bronx while walking with his wife. They were convicted, dishonorably discharged, and given prison sentence. Mora served 3 years, and Johnson and Samaz served 5 years. November 7th of 1973, the skeletal remains of 45 indigenous were reinterred at the facility. So tell me this land ain't cursed. You gonna tell me this land ain't cursed? Okay, well, let me keep going. Desert Shield and Desert Storm happens between 1990 and 1991, and more than 25,000 troops were sent to the Middle East from Fort Hood. Only 3 soldiers were killed and 9 were wounded. Great. Awesome. I love it. 2001 to 2005, Iraq and Afghanistan era, Fort Hood unit played a major role here. 2007, 24-year-old Army Sergeant Lawrence Sprader set out on a map reading exercise. He carried with him a cell phone in case he got lost, right? Despite that, he did not survive the exercise. The autopsy found that he died of dehydration and hypothermia. Thousands of troops and 14 outside agencies searched for him in 90-degree weather. And after an investigation, 6 leaders of the Non-Commissioned Officer Academy leadership were given various punishments for what they found to be serious missteps in the exercise. And over 300 soldiers had participated in that exercise in extreme heat, and more than 24 required medical attention after the 3-hour practice. Like, why are we torturing our soldiers? I don't understand. Although this incident occurred off base on September 8th, 2008, First Lieutenant Robert Bart Fletcher was sent by his captain to the off-base apartment of Specialist Jody Michael Wirrawang to investigate a potential theft of missing military equipment. He was accompanied by an Army staff sergeant, and when they arrived, a confrontation obviously happened and ended in 22-year-old Specialist Wirrawang shooting 24-year-old Lieutenant Fletcher, and then him shooting himself. So on July 18th, 2009, during a party on base, a fight broke out, and Specialist Ryan Richard Schlack stepped in to mediate the situation and protect his fellow soldiers. Specialist Armando Baca left the gathering, retrieved a firearm, returned to the party, and intentionally shot Specialist Schlack while still attempting to break up the altercation. He was convicted and sentenced to 20 years in military prison. And that's it. That's all that happened there. No, I'm just kidding. November 9th, 2009. Army psychiatrist Major Nadal Hassan opens fire at the Soldier Readiness Processing Center, killing 13 people, including a pregnant private, and wounding 32 others. Hassan was paralyzed during his arrest and convicted in 2013 and remains in military death row. And you know, that came out of nowhere. No, it didn't. It didn't. After 9/11 in 2003, Hassan began defending Osama bin Laden, justifying suicide bombings, and declaring his devotion to Sharia law over the U.S. Constitution to his peers and supervisors in conversation. He was reported by several colleagues. One supervisor even tried convincing him to leave the military. And in 2008, he caught the FBI's eye when he was emailing with a known terrorist and asking, quote, "Would a Muslim U.S. soldier who committed fratricide be considered a martyr in the eyes of Islam?" End quote. Sir, fired. Like, we're putting you in the tank, like, right now. Okay? He was known to show up late or not at all. Damn, sounds like me. Oversaw a patient load 10 times lower than most of his peers. tried to recruit patients inappropriately to his religion, and even let a homicidal patient escape from the emergency room. And still, with this pattern of poor judgment and lack of professionalism, and that's a direct quote from the Major Scott Moran, program director at Walter Reed Psychiatric Residency Program. Don't you know that he was promoted from captain to major 6 months before?
Oh my God, bruh.
Wow.
The mass shooting, like 6 months before the mass shooting, he got a promotion. Like,
That's crazy.
Yes. Fuck up to move up. This mass shooting terrorist attack didn't have to happen because the moment that he made it clear that his loyalty to the Quran took precedence over his loyalty to the Constitution, the U.S. Constitution, and his duty as an officer, getting discharged would have been justified. So it didn't have to happen. On July 2011, Private Nazir Jason Aldo or Ablo had gone AWOL from another base, right? He's arrested at a motel near Fort Hood. Gasp in Spanish. Like, why Fort Hood? Like, I don't understand. He got arrested, right? For going AWOL? No, bitch, no. Not for going AWOL. That's not why he got arrested.
Why he got arrested?
He got arrested because he was found with bomb-making materials and later convicted of plotting a secondary attack against Fort Hood soldiers.
Weapon of mass destruction.
Just why Fort Hood, though? Why that one?
Why not Fifth Hood?
So, a year prior, though, because this also didn't have to happen, a year prior, okay, he had an interview with ABC News, and he told ABC News that, quote, any Muslim who knows his religion can find out very clearly why he should not participate in the U.S. military, end quote. So you didn't know you was Muslim before you wasted my tax dollars by going and joining the military? You didn't know that you was Muslim? Like, I just don't understand. You didn't know that you was Muslim. All of a sudden, it's wrong for you to participate in the U.S. military. Sure, after you've already reaped all the benefits. But okay. In August of 2012, he was sentenced to life in federal prison. Good for you. July 2011, the exact same month and the exact same year, military veteran Candace Candy Bowley, who served in both the U.S. Army and the Marine Corps, was found murdered inside a home in Killeen, Texas. She had a severe crack cocaine addiction that she developed during serving her time at Fort Hood. And her case remains unsolved. So now we don't hand them a pack of cigarettes. Now we hand them a pack of crack cocaine. We're going to skip a few years. Yes? No, bitch. No. 2012 and 2013 each saw a base, each on the base. Okay? 2012 and 2013 each. Not together. Saw 26 violent crimes, including aggravated assault. Now, I'm sorry to say, but you expect that. Child pornography. Okay? Kidnapping, homicide, rape, attempted rape, and robbery. What the fuck? April 2nd, 2014. Let's keep going. Iraqi war veteran Special Ivan Lopez drove to 3 different buildings over an 8-minute period and opened fire with a .45 caliber handgun, killing 3 and severely wounding 16. All active duty Army soldiers, before turning the gun on himself and taking himself out. He had been counseled about non-promotion, was being treated for behavioral health conditions ranging from depression, anxiety, and sleep disturbances, had 2 deaths in his family, the strain of his finances from a divorce and mounting debt, and Homeland Security has the nerve to say that he didn't suffer from severe PTSD. Bitch, define severe. Like, define severe. Because that man was a walking time bomb. But okay. 2013 to 2015. SHARP. Okay. SHARP stands for Sexual Harassment, Assault, Respond, and Prevention Program. Its own coordinator, Sergeant First Class Gregory McQueen, runs an internal prostitution ring by identifying financially vulnerable junior female soldiers and facilitating paid encounters for other service members and officers. This scumbag got 24 months in military confinement and dishonorably discharge. He was running a prostitution ring from inside Fort Hood. And that's it. For handwritten notes, because my hand got so fucking tired and I ran out of paper. And that's fucking sad. Let's keep going. November 23rd, 2015. A UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter operating out of the base crashes in the northeast portion of Fort Hood Range and during a nighttime routine training mission, and the incident kills all 4 crew members on board, 2 pilots and 2 crew chiefs. Okay. January 3rd, 2016. The body of 35-year-old intelligence analyst Staff Sergeant Devin Lee Chouette is discovered inside his vehicle at Belton Lake Outdoor Recreation Area after vanishing on New Year's Day. While initially ruling it a suicide via carbon monoxide, the family disputes the finding. But why? Why are you disputing the findings? Because he was stabbed 9 times, bitch. He was stabbed 9 times. The rag that was used to hold the tube inside the window and close the window was soaked in his blood. Why would he stab himself 9 times and then commit suicide by putting the carb by that crap? You make no sense. January 2nd, 2016, during a routine tactical vehicle driving exercise, amid severe weather warnings, a light-medium tactical vehicle is swept away and overturned by a flash flood at Oil Creek Crossing. It was 12 members in there. The disaster killed 9 service members, 8 that were soldiers and 1 from West Point, a cadet, okay? While only 3 survived. And their motto for, even though they were warned, like, hey, there's a severe weather warning, they go by this stupid ass motto, it ain't training if it ain't raining. October 16th. We're only up to 2016, okay? Right now, this current year, when I'm talking to you on this mic, is 2026. So we're still 10 years back. October 10th, 2016, 19-year-old Private Dakota Lee Stump goes missing after leaving his barracks. His overturned vehicle and body are discovered nearly a month later on November 3rd in thick brush off a base roadway. The Army rules it an accident, but forensic anomalies prompt the family pushback. But why are you pushing back? If they say it's an accident, it's an accident. Well, they said he was speeding, but there were no skid marks, and he was labeled as a deserter, even though all his belongings were in his barrack, including his wallet. And he was less than 2 miles away from his barracks. So y'all didn't even bother to look for him. Okay? June 2017, 19-year-old combat veteran Staff Sergeant Anthony Ray Lavelle, on terminal leave prior to military retirement, is killed in a motorcycle accident in Killeen. Okay. July 2017, the death of Specialist Justin Ogden is officially ruled a suicide on base. His family disputes the findings, stating that the handwriting recovered from the note that he left, the supposed suicide note, it didn't match his handwriting at all. September 2017, a joint task force managed by local sheriff department runs an online trafficking sting, arresting 13 active duty soldiers over a 48-hour window. Human trafficking, okay? On August 19th, 2019, Private Gregory Morales goes missing days before his Army discharge. And the base command prematurely designates him as a deserter. So they don't even bother looking for him. Days before, his mother was pleading them to please offer some type of reward, look for him. There's no way he's going to leave and desert the Army when he's about to be honorably discharged in a week. Like, what? 2015 to 2019 data compiled for congressional testimony establishes that during this window, the installation averaged 129 violent felonies per year, including homicide, sexual assault, kidnapping, representing the highest violent crime volume in the U.S. Army. What is going on with Fort Hood? You still don't think it's cursed land? That's okay. The New York Times reports that between 2016 and 2020, more soldiers stationed at Fort Hood have died on and off the base than Fort Hood soldiers who have died in combat zones. What? You're telling me it's safer for my kid to go fight? That's what you're saying? Okay. 2020. 2020 was the year that basically tanked Fort Hood and put it on the map because of one family, not even just the soldier, the family. 2020, March 5th, 2020, 29-year-old specialist Christopher Sawyer dies from a self-inflicted gunshot wound inside his on-base residence. He was found by his 5-year-old baby girl. 5 years old. March 14th, 2020, 23-year-old specialist Freddie Dela Cruz Jr. is shot to death alongside 2 civilians in a triple homicide at an off-base apartment complex in Killeen. Had enough? That's too bad. April 22nd, 2020. Specialist Vanessa Guillén disappears from an on-base armory. Her family launches a national campaign revealing that she was facing unaddressed sexual harassment from supervisor. Now, this is the case that I'm saying made me dive into this rabbit hole. So I had to set the scenery for you. Next episode will be Vanessa Guillén. So we're not going to get too much into her death here. But April 23rd, 2020, 21-year-old Private Gavin Cole Chambers dies suddenly on base, adding to the amount of unexplained spring fatalities. Because they don't even tell you what he died of. Okay? April 29th, 2020, 19-year-old Private Joshua Holden Barneswell dies from a traumatic head injury on base, which the Army labels an accidental weapon discharge. What the fuck? We have faulty equipment now? May 16th, 2020. 37-year-old aviation helicopter mechanic Sergeant Bradley Reynolds dies by suicide in Killeen. May 18th, 2020. PVC Brandon Scott Rosecrans is found shot to death on the side of a road in Harker Heights, Texas, while his vehicle is found burning 3 miles away. May 26, 2020, 45-year-old Staff Sergeant Richard Lee Harrington Jr. dies by suicide at the base. June 2020, the string of unexplained soldier losses continues with the suicide of 23-year-old Specialist James Green. 2019, while looking for Guillén, field teams uncovered the skeletal remains of Private Gregory Morales in a shallow Killeen field. An autopsy confirms a gunshot wound to the head, and his desertion status is reversed. Oh, thank you so much. But what the fuck? We're just killing our soldiers and dumping them in our backyard and not even fucking looking for them? So now you're going to give him his proper burial and reverse his dishonorably discharge? Thank you so much. You were looking for a whole nother soldier because the family was making a ruckus. Okay? June 30th, 2020. Guillén's dismembered remains are found near the Leon River as civil law enforcement moved to detain the primary suspect, Specialist Aaron Robinson. He flees base and shoots himself in the head. Okay? His civilian partner, Cicely Aguilar, is arrested for helping conceal the body. We weren't interested in her. We were interested in him, and y'all fucked that up too. July 3rd, 2020. 33-year-old Navajo citizen specialist Miguel D. Yahtzee dies off an off-base hospital after being admitted for a medical emergency. The autopsy eventually attributes his death to septic shock from ischemic enterocolitis. But why wasn't he seen on base? Well, bitch, listen why he wasn't seen on base. Because his request to see a doctor on base was denied by his chain of command. That's why. August 13th, 2020, 36-year-old Texas Army National Guard Sergeant Bradley Moore collapses and dies during a land navigation training exercise on base during daytime temperatures exceeding 100 degrees. Okay? August 19, 2020, Sergeant Elder Fernandez goes missing shortly after reporting that he was a victim of sexual abuse by a supervisor, and his body is found hanging from a tree a week later. What the fuck? September 2nd, 2020, 25-year-old Navajo tank crewman, Private Colton L. Chi, collapses near the end of a platoon fitness run and dies 5 days later. The Navajo Nation demands congressional oversight. Why? Because there were visible bruising found on his face. Bitch, he didn't die from an exercise. He was beat to death. December 8th, 2020. A civilian panel issues a damning report finding the base's command structure permissive. Okay? Permissive. Meaning, no. Turning a blind eye here. I don't want to fill out any paperwork. You guys just keep doing what you're doing. Permissive of assault and crime. The Department of Army immediately fires or suspends 14 high-ranking commanders. I just don't want them fired. Lock them all up in military prison. Send them to fucking Guantanamo Bay. Something. 2021. Now from 2021 to present. So now we got 9 years of shit we have to get through. April 2023. To comply with a federal mandate stripping Confederate designations from military installation, the base drops the name Fort Hood and is officially renamed Fort Cavazos to honor the first Hispanic general, Richard Cavazos. November 2024, 3 active duty soldiers conspire to transport undocumented immigrants out of Presidio, Texas for a human trafficking ring. During a border patrol pickup, the soldiers crash into a federal vehicle, injuring an agent before attempting to escape on foot. They were later captured and sentenced to federal prison. From 2017 to 2025, a ring of 4 soldiers and an off-base buyer systemically stole and trafficked over 24,000 pieces of military combat gear, body armor, gas masks, weapon components to sell on eBay. All that hardware was worth $2.75 million. June 11th, 2025. Following a directive from the orange man that's in the White House now, he reverts the base to their historic names and orders a sign to officially change the installation name back to Fort Hood. But he says, even though it's changed back to Fort Hood, it's dedicating the installation to World War hero Colonel Robert B. Wood instead of the Confederate general. You could have picked any other fucking name. but you had to keep the name Hood. No one's going to associate it to the war general. It's always going to be the racist fuck Hood. But I mean, from one racist fuck to another, I guess. October 25th, the military. October 25th, that's just a few months ago. The military opens up a probe into Major Blaine McGraw. Oh my God, why? He is an OBGYN at the base hospital. Oh my God, what did he do? After a patient's spouse catches him secretly recording an exam, investigators locate illicit media involving at least 96 verified female victims. What the fuck? December 25. Staff Sergeant John Mungi pleads guilty to unpremeditated murder after shooting his wife, a fellow sergeant Esther Giatao, multiple times during a domestic dispute in their home. He's sentenced to 26 years in prison. January 7, 2026. Oh my God, look, what a coincidence. We're in 2026 right now. 26-year-old veteran Trey Robert Ring, a former forward observer stationed with the 3rd Cavalry Regiment at the base, deployed in Iraq in 2018, passes away in Alto, Texas. Of what? Why are you not giving anyone any information on how? On the who, what, why? May 2026. Wow. That's like almost like last month. No, bitch, it is last month. It's last month. May 2026. A joint human trafficking sting conducted by Texas DPS and Army CID in Bell County results in the arrest of 11 scumbags, among those captured attempting to arrange sex with minors. 4 of them are active duty Fort Hood soldier, including a military police specialist. Fucking nasty. What the fuck, Fort Hood? What the fuck? Why are our soldiers more in danger in our own soil? And to end this, I'm going to end this in the words of one of the most brave miners I've ever seen, who stood 10 toes down against Fort Hood. Gillen's youngest sister, Lupe, screams through a bullhorn. You have all these resources, all this technology. You can find Osama bin Laden, but you can't find a soldier that went missing on your own base. Kiss my immigrant ass, bitch. That part was me. That last part was me. She didn't curse. She seems like a very nice, well-mannered girl. This fucking family in the next episode, they take the world by storm, and they change laws, and they change procedures. They change it all. When Guillén's mother got to the town of Quilín, not to the military base, to the town of Quilín, the first thing she says is, "This town smells like death." And then she says, "This town is death." And that concludes the history on Fort Hood. Please, you're gonna tell me that that's not cursed the land? Don't hit me up at Nina the Diva Podcast at gmail.com. Don't look for me on Instagram, Nina the Diva 1309, or Face Not Found Podcast. Don't look for me on TikTok, Nina the Diva RT. And until fucking next time, because I am reeling and my blood is boiling, because what the fuck? Love you, thank you, bye.